Well, I think we're going to go ahead and start. Trustee Graves is supposed to be on his way, but maybe we can get finished before he gets here. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the April 6th meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Next item is a consent docket. Several items.
Mr. Chairman, staff would like to draw your attention to item 3, the consent docket A6. This item is a contract for filter media, for anthracite filter media, and we've mistakenly posted the contract as being good through September 31st, 2012. We would like for you to note that it's September 30th, 2012. We're sorry.
There is no 31st?
That's what I understand every year. So, we apologize.
Can we can just take that as a Scrivener's error and go forward?
Yes, it's a Scrivener's error.
Okay. All right. Okay. Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the consent docket. Are there further matters to talk about? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It's approved. The next item is item 4, permanent and temporary easements. There are 2 items. They have to be voted on separately.
I'd move item 4A.
Have a motion on item 4A. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Item 4B. It's
Second.
a motion and a second to accept the easement. That's being donated by Cox Communication. Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 4B is approved. Next item is a series of reports, beginning with the status report for the Utility Department for March 2010.
Move we receive the report.
Second. Motion and a second to receive the utility report. Are there comments?
5 out of 6 state lakes look very good.
Yes, I have a report about the 6th one. Further in your agenda, thank you. I wanted to draw your attention. We've been attempting to look at meaningful information from the billing system that we might share with you. The number of new meters is something that we've used to gauge growth in the system historically at the very end of that report. Thus far through the fiscal year, the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year, we sold a little over 2,000 meters for new customers. Typically, I guess the peak in the boom years, the 2000 last decade was about 4,300, but a more typical number for us is about 2,500 to 2,700 meters a year. So while it's down a little bit, it's not completely out of line with what we would expect in a normal, not a high growth year, but a normal year.
Excuse me, Marcia, you mentioned meters. Would you comment about the progress of our meter replacement program?
We've replaced just right at 119,000 meters, so we're caught up and beginning to pursue the regular replacement. We are very excited to be caught up. We're still doing work on some of our larger meters, which are more complex. We have about half of those to do to be fully caught up and implemented. But we are starting to move people from we have moved people from the small meter program to the large meter program to help get that done.
As you took out the old meters, did you do any kind of testing to see if they were still within limits or they were erring on the good side or the bad side?
We test, yes and no. We tested early in the program about 10% of the meters. We found them to under-register about 3% on average. So it was relatively, it was good to replace the meters. There were some that were absolutely stopped that had been caught through normal billing practices, but some very low reads that hadn't been caught. So it's kind of a mixed bag of results. We thought at the time that we might be increasing total billed quantity by about 3% as a result of that data. With weather variability, I can't tell you that we actually did.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Have we voted? I have a motion and a second to receive the report in 5A. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? B is the receipt of the operating cash fund projections report for April 2010.
Move we receive the report.
Second.
Motion and a second to receive this report. Are there comments? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report's received. Item 5C is receive the 2010 monthly pro forma and status report for February 28, 2010.
Move we receive the report.
Second.
Motion and a second to receive the report. Are there comments? Hearing none, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, just in summary, water revenues are down about $1.7 million. It is a wet year. That's very typical of a wet year. We're down about 1 billion gallons in pumpage compared to last year. Also very typical of a wet year. We have forecasted pumpage matching last year's pumpage and have a lot of time to catch up on that. The expenses for water, while income is down $1.7 million from target, expenses are down $3.5 million from target. A lot of that, though, is decreased power costs on the Atoka pipeline, which has been shut down for about half the fiscal year. So there are some, we're balancing out all right, but I understand it's probably closer to even than it was to 1.8 million more income than expenditures. On the wastewater side, expenses are down about $2.7 million, with revenues down $1.2 million, and no exceptions in that case. So we're holding our own. We do see, again, some downturn in income and associate that with the normal changes in annual weather patterns.
Further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The report for 5D is approved. The next report, that's 5C. The next report is the audited financial statement for the McGee Creek Authority.
Move we receive the report.
Second.
A motion and a second to receive the McGee Creek Authority report. Questions? Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The McGee Creek Authority report is approved. The Lake Atoka Association report is item 5E. It's the audited financial statement.
Move we receive the report.
Have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to receive the Lake Atoka Reservation Association annual financial statement. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report's received. Next item is item 5F, status report on the water level projections at Draper during the periods of shutdown.
Move we receive the report.
Second.
Motion and a second to receive the report.
Is there anything the general manager would like to say about this particular project report?
Lake Draper is at 1178 feet, which is about 5 feet below the required level to float boat docks. The project is proceeding ahead of schedule. The Atoka pipeline pumping system project is proceeding ahead of schedule. The contractor expects to be able to turn over the system so that we can pump full out by November of this year. We're very excited about that. That's several months early. We'll begin to, we'll continue to pump down the pipeline whenever the pumping system is available. Right now it's under shutdown. It will pick back up in June, undergo another shutdown in late August, All of those are being carefully coordinated by Mr. Samandi and his staff to make certain that they're as short as possible with help from the operations staff. However, the good news is the contractor's going very speedily. We plan to bring the pipeline back up when we have the 90 MGD capacity that's being restored in the pumps. We plan to bring the pipeline up to 60 million gallons a day pumpage rate and then increase it 5 million gallons a day periodically until we reach a maximum. We're hoping that maximum is 90 million gallons a day. The test of the system is very important to us because it drives potentially other future capital investments in the raw water system. We do think we'll be able to float boats at Lake Draper later in the summer of 2012. There's a possibility we could be ready for spring opening in 2012. We're going to begin working on the boat dock work that needs to be done at Draper so that we have boat stalls ready to go as quickly as possible and consistent with the new project schedule.
So the boat docks won't be available this year, is that correct?
That's correct, and not in 2011 as well.
And I read this properly, the lake level is going to drop up almost another 15 feet from where it is now.
There is that risk. The drop has been lower than we predicted all along, but there is that risk, worst case.
Are there any things that we might accomplish if that happens? I mean, I'm sure you don't see the bottom of the lake very often. And I just wondered if there are things that we could do that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, the kinds of projects that we have planned that Marcia spoke of is to get the plans and specifications done expeditiously for the wet stall replacement project so we can present those to you to get that project awarded so it's done when the water level returns. There are 3 boat ramps, 1 new boat ramp on the southeast side of the lake that has been brought to you as part of a TAP work before, and the 2 west side ramp rehabilitations along with courtesy docks and parking areas for those also. And we also have, through our own Reservoirs and Canals group, discussed using remaining broke up concrete chunks to create an improved barrier for the wave action that was spoke of by the wet stall renters in our previous citizen meetings. So we're looking at those projects at that lake. We're looking at, now once we start moving large amounts of water from Atoka to Draper, the thought is that we will look at the projects, the 2 projects at Atoka when we get lake levels low enough at Atoka that we can commence those projects. But they have to be scheduled after the water level gets much lower at Atoka to do the boat ramps at those lakes. But that's the schedule for those 2 projects.
Actually, I was thinking more of things that might occur that it would have to do with the bottom of the lake, not so much of the bottom of the lake being exposed. I don't know what that would be.
Yes, sir. We have been extracting things that show up near the surface as the lake level drops, and we plan to continue to do that. I think a key thing for us will be to get ready to replant the vegetation that we may lose and may be okay. We don't know yet. With the lake level dropping, that shoreline vegetation has been very helpful to us in the erosion control program out there.
This really doesn't have much to do with the lake level dropping as much as it does to do with just the general industrial look especially of the north end of Draper. There's still so much debris from old pipeline breaks and things that along that road that this may be a good time to try to get them out of there. But they detract from probably don't have anything to do with the water, but they detract from the other recreational uses of it. So
I'll follow up.
I could take them to you, show you where they are if you guys don't know. See them every day, twice a day. We have a motion and a second, I suspect, to receive the status report. Are there further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is item 6. 3 items, each of them require individual consideration. The first item is the ratification of the Water Utilities Trust payments through
Move
April
approval.
13th.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to approve the payments through April 13th. Comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve the payments. The next item is item B, a joint resolution with the city and the Water Utilities Trust agreeing to pay the city's aliquot costs with regard to the McGee Creek indenture.
Move approval.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve item 6B. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 6B is approved. Item 6C is a resolution authorizing the general manager to extend the commercial paper agreement.
Move approval.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to authorize the general manager to extend the commercial paper letter of credit agreement. Comments? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There is a extra item concerning executive session. Is there new business? No new business. Comments from trustees, staff, citizens? No comments. So we need a motion to go into executive session.
Move to go to executive session?
Second.
Voting.
Trustee Couch,
Yes.
Trustee Gray,
Aye.
Trustee Ryan,
Aye.
and Chairman White.
Aye. We are in executive session.